Good afternoon, students. I welcome you all for this online classes. Since we all are socially away from each other for this very much pandemic coronavirus COVID-19, so I pray for everyone so that we can get away from this kind of pandemic soon, and we will be seeing each other soon in less time. So please keep, and I'm sure that you all are following the rules and regulations of this social distancing, and keep praying to God that we should get over from this kind of disastrous phase of our life and come out of it soon. Okay, so first of all, congratulations to all of you that you all have come out of class 9 with flying colors, and I know and I hope that you are going to work very, very hard for class 10 board class, and you will show that you are geared up for class 10 board class. Yes. So as you all know, I should not introduce myself. I am Rekha Narayan, biology teacher for you this year, and today I am going to begin the syllabus of biology for class 10, and the first chapter for the biology is life processes. Okay, so children, first of all, before I begin the explanation of the chapter, I would like to remind you that I have sent you the soft copy of the chapter, because I know that you might not be having the textbooks because you might have not purchased yet. So please read the chapter carefully, line by line. Either you make a print of those pages. I have just sent for one chapter because right now we are doing this chapter. So I have sent for life processes. So you will first print it out, or you can read it on your WhatsApp phone. Okay. So read line by line you will read, and after the end of today's session, I will tell you till which page we have done today, and you read that page, and whatever questions I will be sending you for the particular day, you have to do it so that you will have the recall of the chapter, then you will have the practice of the answer writing also. Same time, everything can be done in step-by-step manner. Now, we come to the chapter life processes. The word life plus processes is made up of two words. One is life. Everybody knows from the very early classes is you are studying that life means something which is living, which can breathe, which can eat, which can move, which can respire, and a non-living thing which cannot do all these things which a living thing can do. Okay, and the processes means the kind of activities, metabolic actions. Okay, so when we make it together, life process means the different types of activities or the metabolisms that a living creature does, which makes it different from non-living thing. Okay, so like in this chapter, we will study about the living thing only. But what are we going to study? We are going to study that what are the different metabolic activities or the actions a living thing does to be living on this earth. Okay, to recap what you have studied in the previous class, that means in class 9, we have studied cell, we have studied tissues, we have studied muscles, we have studied different types of cycles going on in the plants. So all these things have a connection to the 10th class syllabus. Like you have studied the cell, you have studied plant cell, you have studied animal cell also. Okay. How a plant cell is different from animal cell, everybody knows different points, because plant cell have certain kind of structure, animal cell have certain kind of structure. Plant cell have different types of components, animal cells have different types of components. Okay, so like for example, we all know that plants are able to make their food, but animals are dependent on others for their food. So how a plant can prepare its food? Plant has a plastid, a kind of an organelle which contains a green color pigment that is called as chlorophyll. Do an animal cell has? No, because it is not needed in animals, because animals are not able to prepare their food. Different types of cells join together to make the tissues. Tissues are different types of tissues are present in the plants, different types of tissues are present in the animals. Then we come to the different types of organs. Plants have different types of organs, plants, animals have different types of organelles. And even the different type of systems, since plants are little simpler than the animals. So, and since animal body is a complex structure, so that is why it needs different types of body systems to carry out different types of activities. So everything we will sum up in this chapter, that is life processes. First, we need to know what are the different points, what are the different features that make a living thing different from a non-living thing. You can read in the slide which is in front of you. The most important criteria for the to decide whether something is living is the movement. All living things move without the help of any external help. Some movements are easily visible, like movement of body parts. You can see in the slide, children, that a bird is flying, a fish is swimming, okay, and even the bird is sitting on the branch, and the fins are helping the fish to move in the water. So this is the external movements. But to show those external movements, there are some internal movements of the cells and tissues also. Like to make the fins flap together, the cells and the tissues which are present inside the fin, they contract and relax, so that makes the molecular movement in the cell and the tissues, which is also a kind of a movement. But do we see such kind of movements in a table or in a chair or in a ball? If you throw a ball is rolling down with the help of the force that we are applying on the ball. But ball doesn't have any kind of molecules or cells inside which is making the ball to roll down. If we hit the ball with the bat, the pressure, the force that we have applied on the ball with the help of a bat helps to move the ball. So the basic difference between a living and the non-living thing is, first, living is having life, non-living thing doesn't have life. Living thing can breathe, non-living thing cannot breathe. Living things show internal as well as external movement, but non-living thing does not show any kind of movement. So these are very basic things that you had already studied in the lower classes. Just to recap and to make it little fresh in front of you, I just got this criteria to decide whether the creature is living or non-living. Now, just to dictate you the definition, everybody is expected to write the definition of the life process. Life processes are the basic processes in living organisms which are necessary for maintaining their life. So everybody please write down this definition in the notebook, that life process are the basic processes which is needed by the any kind of living organism to maintain their life. Altogether, we divide the life process into 4 categories. One is nutrition, second one is respiration, third one is transportation, and the fourth one is excretion. I think all of you are aware of these processes. Everybody knows what is the meaning of it, but So then a question might arise in your mind that why are we studying this again and again? These are very simple things. Yes, children, these are very simple things. But we need to learn these processes in details, how it takes place. What are the internal processes taking place? What are the different molecules? What are the different enzymes? What are the different chemicals which is taking place, which is helpful in making this life processes successful inside the living organism. Now, the first, nutrition. Nutrition means, write down the definition, is the process of taking food by the organism and its utilization by the body for other life process. Like if we are eating the food, then only we get the energy. If we don't eat the food, excuse me, if we will not eat the food, we will not get the energy. Can we able to move? No. If we don't eat for 5 days, if we don't eat for 10 days, definitely our number of processes which is taking place inside our body will become weaker, and day on, what happens, our internal anatomy will also start getting weaker. Okay, next is respiration, is the process by which food is burnt in the cell of the body with the help of oxygen to release energy. Now, I think all the students must be aware that where this respiration process takes place inside the cell, in the mitochondria. Yes, inside the mitochondria, the food that we have eaten comes in the contact of the oxygen, and the oxygen breaks down the food into simple components, as well as it releases the energy from the food and gets stored inside the mitochondria. So whenever and whatever amount of energy we need, the mitochondria releases in the form of energy quotient, that is ATP. Everybody knows ATP means A stands for adenosine, T stands for tri, and P stands for phosphate. It will come later also. Don't worry if you don't know the full form, you don't recall the full form, don't worry. It will come in the later slides also. Next process is the transportation. It is the process by which food, oxygen, water, waste products are carried from one part of the body to the another. Children, you are aware that when we eat the food is chewed in the mouth, it is taken inside the digestive system. From the digestive system, the important nutrients has to be sent to the different body parts. Similarly, the oxygen that we breathe in by the nose and the lungs, it passes to the lungs. From the lungs, it is going to the different body parts. Similarly, after the metabolic activities, some of the products will form that is of no use, that is the waste. If the waste will start accumulating inside our body, whether it is going to be useful? No, it is going to be toxic. It is going to destroy our cells. It is going to damage our cells. So in that case, those waste products have to be removed out of the body. So that also be first transported from the different cells. From the different cells, all the waste products will be transported to the excretory system so that it can be excreted out. So the next process itself says that excretion, it is the process by which waste products are removed from the body. Now you can have a look on the diagrams which is given in front of you. These diagrams will also come later in the bigger view. So just to show you, the first diagram is showing the digestive system. That means it is related to which one? It is related to the nutrition. Second one is showing the respiratory system. So it is related to what? It is related to the respiration. The third one is the transportation. You can see that heart is there, blood vessels are there, kidneys are there, liver are there, lungs are there. So that means it is related to what? It is related to the transportation. And the last one which you can see, this one is the excretory system. The kidneys are there, the veins and the arteries are there, the urinary bladder is there. So this is what the collection is done. The urine is collected in the bladder and it is excreted out when it is not needed for the body. So it is connected to what? The excretion process. So just please note down these points: nutrition, respiration, transportation and excretion in the notebook. Okay children, now we go to the next topic. Next topic, now we will start with the nutrition in detail. In detail, we will start with the nutrition is the process of taking in food by an organism. First is taking in, then utilization by the body to build the body, for the growth, to repair the damaged part of the body and for the energy. Everybody knows that why food is necessary for the living thing. Without food, we cannot survive. Why? Because food is that particular item, or you can say that it is so important. Why? Because food is made up of different types of nutrients. We have carbohydrates, we have proteins, we have fats, we have minerals, we have vitamins. So all these different nutrients are needed by the different body parts for the different types of functions. You know that. So nutrition, without the food, we cannot grow. Our cells will not grow. Without food, we cannot get energy. Without food, we cannot be protected from the external infections. And vitamins and minerals are called as a protective food, which protects us from different diseases, which protects us from different kinds of foreign substances. So they also very much important. So the first point, to build up the body. Protein is needed to build up the body. Okay, growth. All the minerals and the vitamins and the proteins are needed for the growth. To repair the damaged part. Suppose when you are sick, when you fall sick, what happens? Our cells get damaged. So in those places, those damaged cells has to be replaced by the new cells. So to make the new cells, we need some kind of important components of the food. So once those components of the food is supplied to the body, our new cells forms inside the body. And the new cells multiplies, and again we get the more number of new cells, so that our body starts functioning properly after the formation of new cells. The last, which is most important, this is the energy. Without energy, we cannot do anything. You know that. After, suppose you fast for a day, one day you fast, you don't eat anything, you just drink water, water, water. What will happen? You will, after the end of the day, you will feel like we are exhausted. We can't walk, we cannot move our hands and like that. So why in a day we become so much energyless? So that shows that food, without food, we cannot have energy. Okay. So, and now the comes is like, in whatever food, in whatever living thing which we can see around, the main important element present in every living thing is the carbon. So inside the body, the bone structure, the tissue structure, the cell structure, everything needs carbon. So the most important food is made up of carbon-based molecules. They are made up of carbon. The outside raw materials used by the living things are food, water and air. But so all these things gives us energy, helps to repair our damaged parts, build the body, helps us to grow. On the basis of acquiring the food, when to get the food, the living things are divided into two categories. One is the autotrophic nutrition, other one is the heterotrophic nutrition. Okay, Autotrophic nutrition means auto. What is the meaning of auto? Auto means self. The creatures that can create, that can make their food by their own without the help of any other thing. Only some of the inorganic substances they just collect, combine and make the food for themselves and store it inside them. So such type of living things are called as, they are autotrophs. So write down this definition. Autotrophic nutrition is a nutrition in which organisms prepare their own food from the simple inorganic substances like carbon dioxide and water, but in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. This is very important, children, sunlight and chlorophyll. Without it, if you add carbon dioxide, if you the plant are able to take the carbon dioxide, we are giving the water, but if there is no sunlight, plants cannot make the food. So in such category we will keep all the green plants and some of the bacteria. Bacteria like, some of the bacteria like cyanobacteria, you can write an example. Okay, now second type of nutrition is the hetero type of nutrition. Hetero means which are dependent on others for their food. So such nutrition, some such organisms which get their food from the other sources, which are dependent on others. They eat the plant sources, they get from the plant eating animals. So in which later on we can divide in the heterotrophic nutrition like herbivorous, carnivorous, omnivorous, these are those. So they depend on plants directly or indirectly. How indirectly? Directly means the ones who eat the plants. Indirectly means which eat the plant eating animals. Plant eating animals. So both the cases, they are unable to make the food, but they are dependent on others for their food. So in this group we will add example all the animals, fungus and some bacteria. In the bacteria, such bacteria like archaebacteria, you can add it. Okay. Now, heterotrophic nutrition, since we have a number of creatures coming in the heterotrophic, all the animals, fungus, some of the bacteria are included. So numbers are huge, variety is huge. So that is why we will divide the heterotrophic nutrition into further few subcategories. So further few categories are saprophytic. You can see that, write down this, saprophytic, parasitic and holozoic. Okay, so I think you all are aware of these three categories, saprophytic, parasitic and holozoic. But I am going to explain it separately, what is the meaning of it, how they are different from each other. But they all are dependent on plants indirectly or directly. But how are they different from others? Now the first one, saprophytic. Saprophytic, the nutrition in which organisms get their food from dead and decaying animals. That means when the plant dies, or you can say the animal dies. So in that case what happens? They are left like anything on the earth. So slowly what happens? They start getting rotten. Okay, decayed. So these organisms like mushrooms, fungus, you can say yeast and some bacteria, these are the microorganisms. Some of them are microorganisms. Some microorganisms and like fungus, what do? They feed on it. First they inject some kind of chemicals in these dead decaying part, which helps those uh, parts of the plants and the animals to start decaying, and that gives them the food which they utilize for their growth. Okay, you can see that, you can write this also. They break down the food material outside their body and then absorb. They inject some chemicals inside the decaying parts, and once it starts decaying, they absorb the important nutrients from that particular decaying matter. Okay, Second is parasitic. Parasitic means they don't kill them. These animals don't kill the source of the food. They enters inside them and then they become living. You must be remember we studied in the last class the malaria, the disease malaria, and the causing agent of the malaria. What is the causing agent of malaria? Plasmodium. Yes, plasmodium. What happens? The plasmodium enters in our body system, okay, with the help of a vector, that is female Anopheles mosquito. When the female Anopheles mosquito comes and bites us, it injects the plasmodium inside our blood. So now the plasmodium becomes active because it takes all the nutrients which is present in our through the blood. So inside it gets inside and it starts multiplying. Until it is inside our body system, it cannot multiply on its own. Once it multiplies and it becomes more in number and it infects us. Like one example for the plant is cuscuta. You have seen or not, I don't know. This is the cuscuta. This picture is the cuscuta. It is called amar bale in Hindi. This amar bale, what it does, it cannot prepare its own food. But once it gets the support of any living plant, it sucks all the nutrients from the host plant and gradually what it does, it kills the plant. It kills the plant. So such type of nutrition is called as parasitic nutrition. So examples are cuscuta, ticks, you know, the termites type, lice, the lice which is present in the hair, okay, leeches, roundworm, tapeworm, plasmodium, etc. Next is Holozoic. Holozoic means completely. That means it takes the food completely, takes inside the body, it can digest the food, in which we can also up a Holozoic nutrient absorbing animals also we can call ourselves. Okay, so it gets the food directly, it eats it, digests it, absorbs it. You have seen you can see that this is the picture of an amoeba. This is the picture of an amoeba, this one. Okay. You can see that this is the picture of an amoeba and you can see that this is the food. Sorry, this is the food and this is the false feet of amoeba. What happens? Once the food approaches closer to the amoeba, the false projections called as pseudopodia, they traps it. Once it traps it, what happens? The food gets inside and it closes and it becomes a food vacuole. And that food vacuole digests the food for the amoeba and it is absorbed inside the body of the amoeba. Okay, so this you can see that Holozoic. Holozoic means it gets the food, digests inside the body with the help of any system, whether it is the formation of food vacuole, whether in the digestive system, that type of we have, or the fishes have, birds have. So we digest the food, we absorb it, and then we sends out the waste products which is created by the food digestion. Okay, so such type of nutrition is called as Holozoic nutrition. Holozoic means completely digesting the food in the body. Okay, I hope you all have copied these definitions also. I'm just going to the next topic. Now, we will now gradually go with the plant and animals. First, we will discuss the life process nutrition in the plants. Very clearly, we had already categorize the plants in the autotrophs. We have categorized in the autotrophs. Autotrophs are those organisms which prepare its own food with the help of inorganic substances. And that process is called as photosynthesis. This you have studied. So now This should be the complete definition of the photosynthesis. The photosynthesis. It is the process by which plants prepare food by using carbon dioxide, water. These are the two inorganic substances, carbon dioxide and the water. But it has to be, these two has to be present in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. The food prepared, this much is the definition of photosynthesis. But the food is prepared in the form of carbohydrate. When it is stored, it may be carbohydrate, maybe in the form of glucose. Preparation is done in the form of glucose, but when it is stored in the different body parts of the plant, like in the leaves, in the roots, in the stems, in the branches, in the form of roots, so they are stored in the form of starch. Okay, now you can see that in the equation. Carbon dioxide is one inorganic component. Water is the another inorganic component. These two can be synthesized together when first sunlight is there and the chlorophyll is there. These are the two important elements for the photosynthesis. In the sunlight, these two get, the sunlight gives the solar energy. This solar energy is trapped in the chloroplast, which is present, by the chlorophyll, which is present in the chloroplast. So the sunlight, the solar energy gets converted into chemical energy to combine these two. What actually happens? This water molecule splits up into two. Hydrogen and oxygen is separated. This hydrogen and oxygen, when it splits up, they combine with the carbon dioxide. They changes into glucose molecule. You can see that glucose molecule is formed and water molecule is formed and oxygen is formed. So this is the complete equation for the photosynthesis. When many glucose molecules are formed together, they are stored inside the plant parts in the form of starch. So you can see that there are basically three steps of the photosynthesis. One, absorption of light energy by the chlorophyll. We will do in the detail. I will show you the structure of the chloroplast where the light is trapped, or you can say absorbed, and where it is converted into chemical energy. So first step is absorption of light energy by the chlorophyll. Second, conversion of light energy into chemical energy and the splitting up of the water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen. The third step is reduction of carbon dioxide to form carbohydrates. So that means when carbon reduction means addition of hydrogen. When carbon dioxide is joined by the hydrogen molecules, which leads to the formation of carbohydrates, is the third step. That is the food already formed. So final form. So just to recap, first light is absorbed, solar light, that means sunlight is absorbed by the chlorophyll which is present in the green leaves. Second one, that light energy which is trapped by the chlorophyll present in the leaves changes the light energy into chemical energy. The chemical energy helps to break down the water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen. That hydrogen gets combined with the carbon dioxide to form the carbohydrates. So these are the three steps. Please write down these three steps quickly. Okay. Now I'm going to the next topic. You can see the diagrammatic representation of the photosynthesis process. Just have a look, children. You can see clearly. Here the sun is giving its solar energy. That is why last year I told you that plants do both. Plants take oxygen also, plants take carbon dioxide also. Why? When the plants breathe, because plants also need oxygen to get energy. So respiration process takes place. In the daytime also, in the nighttime also, plants respire, taking in oxygen, releasing carbon dioxide. But In the daytime, it also does the process of photosynthesis. So in that case, what happens? The amount of oxygen the plants breathe in during the daytime for the process of respiration is being given by the plants only by the process of photosynthesis. We have studied in the previous slide that oxygen is produced by the photosynthesis. The oxygen which is produced by the photosynthesis is utilized. Some of the oxygen is utilized by the plant for its own respiration. But the carbon dioxide which is released by the plant by the process of respiration, the whole carbon dioxide is utilized by the plant for the process of photosynthesis. Okay, so the solar energy is getting trapped by these green color which is present in the leaf. Carbon dioxide is entering in the leaf that with the through the stomata, and what happens? These two, chlorophyll is and the water through the roots, it is coming to the leaves. So what happens? The sun breaks the water into hydrogen and oxygen. That hydrogen gets combined with the carbon dioxide, and what is it forming? It forms the glucose. Okay, and the rest over what oxygen is released out in the atmosphere, that oxygen we use to breathe in. That is why we all say plant more trees to reduce the global warming. If less number of plants are there, what will happen? We will not get pure air to breathe. Pure air means more amount of oxygen, and you have seen that the areas which have many trees and the plants, the air is very pure, clean. Why pure and clean? Because more amount of oxygen is present in that particular atmosphere. Okay, so if any case in it comes like draw the diagrammatic representation of photosynthesis, this is a very easy way to show the diagrammatic representation of photosynthesis. Draw a sun, okay, showing the arrow that solar energy is coming to the plant. Draw a simple plant with the roots and the so that you can show that water is going from the roots to the upper parts. Draw some leaves, say that carbon dioxide is entering through the leaves and water is entering through the root. They are both combining where inside the leaf glucose is formed and the oxygen is released. Okay, draw it. I'm just giving you 2 minutes so that you can draw fast. I hope you have drawn. So now I'm going to the next topic. Now we are going to the cross section of the leaf, because we showed you that what are the important components of the photosynthesis. One is the water, second is the sunlight, third is the carbon dioxide. But how this sunlight is trapped by the leaves, how the carbon dioxide is entering through the leaves, that also you need to understand the total internal structures of the leaves so that it becomes very easy for you to understand. So first, the important chlorophyll. What are chlorophyll? They are the green pigments present in the leaves. If we observe a cross section of a leaf under a microscope, we can see the cells containing green dots called as chloroplast, which is containing the chlorophyll. This one is a internal structure of a leaf. This I'll show you in detail. Now this is the plant cell. This is a plant cell. You can see this is the structure of the leaf again, showing that how the water is coming out, how the carbon dioxide is going on, and this one is the chloroplast. I think you all are aware of this structure. We have done in class 9th the chloroplast structure. So one by one diagram we will see in detail so that it becomes more and more clearer to you and it will be easier to understand. Right now don't draw anything. I will show you in detail, that only you draw. First, you just write down what is chlorophyll. They are the green color pigment present in the leaf. Okay, where are they stored? They are stored in the chloroplast, which is a plastid present in the plant cell. Now see, this is the structure of the leaf, internal structure of the leaf. Okay, you can see that now suppose this is the upper part of the leaf and this is the lower part of the leaf. So first one is the wax cuticle. This is the first layer of the leaf, shows the wax cuticle. Wax cuticle means it has a waxy layer above the outer layer, outer edge. Why the wax cuticle has to be present? So that the water is not absorbed, so that the leaves should not get damaged by the exposure of the water. Because if it will start absorbing water, it will start decaying. So a wax cuticle prevents it from damage of from the external water. One more function of the wax cuticle is that if the wax cuticle will not be present from the inside, if excess water is stored inside, it should not go out of the leaf and makes the leaf dry and curls up. So it prevents the dehydration of the leaves also. So the outermost layer of the leaf is called as wax cuticle. Next layer of the, you can see that rectangular type of structure cells are present. They are called as upper epidermis. Why we call this? Like suppose we take a leaf. This is a leaf. This is the upper part of the leaf. This is the lower part of the leaf. Dorsal, ventral. Okay. So this is up on the upper part. There is the wax cuticle. Just below it, the upper epidermis is present. You have studied in class 9. The epidermis means they are made up of epidermal cells. And the role of epidermal cells are for the protection. They prevent from external damage. The leaves are protected from the external damage. It gives a cushiony layer kind of a thing. Now you can see that next to upper epidermis, there is a big row of cells. Different types of cells are present. They are called as mesophyll cells. Okay, mesophyll cells are little, you can say, differentiated, specialized type of cells. Why are they specialized? I will tell you. You can see that there are two types of mesophyll cells. One is the palisade mesophyll and the second one is the spongy cells. Palisade mesophylls are little elongated, and these green dots, can you see that? These green dots are called as the chloroplasts. So chloroplasts are present. Chloroplast means they are containing chlorophyll, which is going to help in the process of trapping of the sunlight and doing the photosynthesis. Okay. So the mesophyll cells are specialized for the trapping of the sunlight, converting trapping the solar energy and converting into chemical energy. The spongy mesophylls are circular in structure. Palisade are elongated. Palisade are have more number of chloroplasts as compared to the spongy mesophylls. Spongy is for the air exchange, more for the air exchange and less for the photosynthesis. This is for the more photosynthesis. Next to this, the mesophyll cells, the lower epidermis is present. Now you can see that the lower epidermis cells have one circular, there are some gaps, and in between the gaps there is some oval type structures are present. These cells are called as guard cells. Okay, these guard cells can come closer, they can go away from each other. And the gap which is trapped between the two guard cells are called as stoma or the stomata. So when the water enters the leaf through the guard cell, the gap of the guard cells or through the epidermis, what happens? The guard cells takes up water, it becomes swollen. When it becomes swollen, what it becomes? It stretches. When it stretches, the stomata opens and the air enters. Okay, the air enters. And when the water is lost, what happens? It shrinks, comes in the original size. What happens? It comes to the original size, and what happens? The air space, the stomata closes so that the air cannot pass through it. This is the structure of the internal structure of the leaf with the help of, there are three structures just to recap: wax cuticle, then upper epidermis, and then palisade mesophyll, then the spongy mesophyll, then the lower epidermis, which is containing the stomatal apparatus, the two guard cells, and the stomata opening. You can see in the picture the guard cells are also having the chloroplast containing the chlorophyll. The next diagram is shown to you is about a simple structure of a plant cell. This is the cell wall. You can see that this is the cell wall. Then the other one is the cell membrane, and there is a central large vacuole present. And these are the plastids, or the green color pigment plastic containing plastid is called as a chloroplast, which contains the chlorophyll. There is a nucleus and the fluid present is the cytoplasm. Okay. The next diagram shows a chloroplast, a simple chloroplast. You can see this, you have already studied in the last class. Okay. You can see that this is having first outer membrane, then you have the inner membrane, this one, and between these two outer and inner membrane there is an intermembrane space also present. And the intermembrane space is filled by, now the inside, there is intercellular membrane, and inside the inner membrane it is filled by a fluid called as stroma. The yellow color portion is called as a stroma, and you can see the coin-like structures, they are called as a thylakoids. Coin individually they are called as a thylakoids, and when these thylakoids are arranged in the stacks, like one above the other, like suppose if I add one thylakoid and then like this, it becomes a kind of a stacks of the thylakoid. The stack of the thylakoids are called as a granum. You can see that this is one granum, this is another granum, this is next granum, but all the granums are connected to each other with the help of a lamellae. This is the lamellae, and this, because it is present inside the stroma, we call it as a stroma lamellae. Okay, so and what happens inside the thylakoid, the trapping of the solar energy takes place. Okay, that we will study little later how it does the conversion of it. Okay, now you can see this. Now we have already studied the different internal structures. Now just to recap, this is what? This is the wax cuticle. This is what? This is the upper epidermis. Now just near the epidermis, upper epidermis, this is the elongated cells are present. They are called as palisade mesophills. Now next to palisade mesophills, these are the spongy mesophills. Then this is the lower epidermis. It has the gaps that is called made by the what? That is made by the guard cells, and the guard cells are containing the chloroplast. These are the xylem and phloem that we will study later. Now you see that once the high water vapor content is there, how the stomata opens. When the water vapor is more inside the leaf and the water vapor content is, this is high inside the leaf and it is low outside the leaf, and the carbon dioxide is low inside the leaf but carbon dioxide is high inside the leaf. In the previous class you have studied that the movement of water or the gaseous molecules is done by the process of diffusion. What is diffusion? That means the movement of the molecules from its higher concentration to lower concentration. You can see that water vapor is high here and the water vapor is low here. So what will happen? Always from high to low it will move, and here the carbon dioxide is high here and low here. So what will happen? Now when the water vapor is removed, so what will happen? The water is more inside. The water is more inside, the guard cells will stretch. Guard cell will stretch, its stomata will open, and what will happen? The carbon dioxide will enter. So this way the stomata starts moving, starts opening, and the carbon dioxide enters. Carbon dioxide enters, so what happens? The process of photosynthesis starts taking place. Water is present inside, carbon dioxide is present inside, chlorophyll is already present there, and the sunlight is trapped. So what happens? The water is splits up into hydrogen and oxygen, hydrogen combines with the carbon dioxide, and then what happens? The carbon dioxide changes into glucose and the oxygen is released. Okay, children. So today I am going to stop the lecture here till this topic, and you should remember, let's do a quick recap. After the recap, I will send you some questions for today. I will send you on the WhatsApp like what are the questions. I will send you 4 to 5 questions only. Those 4 to 5 questions you are supposed to write in the notebook. I may ask you to send a clip of the answer so that I should get a check whether you are literally following the chapters or not, whether you are doing or not. Children, don't waste your time. Time is very crucial for you. Okay, so better you write the answer, send me, and any doubts you have for today's class, you send me questions. You can send me voice messages. I will revert back to you. That is my promise to you. Okay, now just to recap, we started the chapter with the topic life processes. What is life processes? The processes which are important to sustain the life is known as life processes. Basically, the life processes are 4. First one is respiration, nutrition, second one is respiration, third is transportation, and the fourth one is excretion. Now, we have started the chapter, we have started the first life process like nutrition. What is nutrition? Taking in a food and utilizing for the growth, repair and energy is known as nutrition. Different types of living organisms use different modes to acquire the food. So on the basis of acquiring the food, they are divided into 2 categories. One is autotrophic, one is heterotrophic. Autotrophics are those which are self-preparing creatures. Food can be prepared by themselves only. And the heterotrophic, so autotrophs includes only plants and some of the bacteria like cyanobacteria. Heterotrophs, they depend on plants directly or indirectly for the food. So they are further divided into 3 subcategories. One is called as Saprophytic, second one is called as Parasitic, and third one is called as Holozoic. Next we came to the plant photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a process of food making in the plants with the help of inorganic substances like water, carbon dioxide in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. We have studied that chlorophyll is present in the plastids, green color plastids called as chloroplast, and the leaf has different types of cells. Epidermis cells are there, palisade mesophyll cells are there, spongy mesophills are there, then lower epidermis is there. In the lower epidermis, there are specialized cells called as guard cells. Guard cells have a gap in between. The opening and closing of the guard cells creates a stomatal opening. The stomatal opening helps the carbon dioxide to go inside. When the stomata gets open only when the water goes inside by the process of diffusion, by the process of osmosis. And what happens? The guard cell swells up. Guard cell swells up, it creates pull, it gets separated, and that creates a gap so that the carbon dioxide can go inside the leaf. Once the water and carbon dioxide is utilized, what happens? The water content becomes low inside the cell, so it relaxes and the stomata closes. So no entry of carbon dioxide. Okay, so this is what we have done for today's class. Please do the questions which is sent to you and read the chapter carefully. Okay, that number also I will tell you till which page number you have to read it today. First read the chapter, then do the question answers. Doubt If you have, you can send me, you can ask me through the voice messages. Thank you children. Have a good day.